glance that took Ryan's breath away. He felt as if he had entered another dimension, one where the laws of physics and reality were slightly altered. As Ryan lost himself in the underwater world, his senses were completely engulfed by the awe-inspiring scenes that unfolded before him. The coral reefs, in all their resplendent glory, had become the focal point of his attention, and the schools of fish that swam past him appeared to dance with an ethereal tune. However, he had become oblivious to the predator that was inching closer to him from behind. A shadowy presence, lurking just beyond his periphery, stalked him with a silent grace, biding its time until it could strike. Ryan was utterly unaware of the imminent danger that was about to befall him. As if struck by a bolt of lightning, Ryan felt an excruciating pain jolt through his body. A sharp, searing sensation ripped through his left leg, and a muffled scream of agony escaped his lips. His heart raced with terrible realization as he recognized the source of his torment. A 13-foot tiger shark had clamped down on him with a ferocity that made his bones quake. Its powerful jaws, lined with razor-sharp teeth, ripped through his flesh with a frightening force. Ryan's mind raced as he struggled to comprehend the gravity of the situation. His worst nightmare had become a reality, and he was at the mercy of a fearsome predator, with no escape in sight. As the shark clamped its jaws down on Ryan's leg, its powerful muscles thrashed about, throwing him around like a toy in a fit of fury. The water turned a deep shade of crimson as Ryan's blood seeped out, mixing with the salt water. The sharp, serrated teeth of the tiger shark tore through his skin and muscle, causing unimaginable agony that shot through every nerve ending in his body. The pain was all-consuming, knocking out any other thoughts or sensations, and Ryan was left to endure the brutal assault of the predator in a world of pain and terror. Ryan tried to kick the shark repeatedly, but his efforts were futile against the shark's incredible strength. In one sickening crunch, the shark bit off Ryan's leg completely, severing it from his body with ruthless efficiency. As Ryan's muffled screams fell on the deaf ears of the ocean, the shark prepared to strike again, stalking its prey as it circled around him. Ryan's strength was waning, and his mangled leg was drowning him in pain. The shark lunged once more, its jaws gaping wide, ready to finish the job it had started. But this time, Ryan was prepared. Instinctively, he reached for the knife on his waist and plunged it into the shark's eye with all his might. The shark recoiled in pain, thrashing wildly in the water before retreating into the depths of the ocean. But Ryan's victory was short-lived. He was almost out of breath, his vision growing dim as he fought to stay conscious. As Ryan lost all hope, he saw a local diver approach him, a glimmer of hope in an otherwise hopeless situation. The diver managed to pull Ryan towards his boat, performing first aid as he called for rescue. Despite the
harpoon into the water, aiming for the hammerhead's flank. The weapon found its mark, and the shark writhed in pain, releasing Jake from its grasp. The water turned crimson as the predator retreated, its powerful tail lashing in distress. Jake was pulled onto the boat, his leg severely injured, and his body in shock from the traumatic encounter. The Thompsons were inconsolable, their relief at their son's rescue overshadowed by the horror. Infection was a constant concern, as the saltwater and marine life in the ocean posed additional threats to his already compromised health. The once promising vacation had morphed into a harrowing nightmare, casting a shadow over the surface. The Thompsons' experience became a cautionary tale, prompting locals and visitors to approach the ocean with greater caution and respect. The once vibrant atmosphere of Ocean View Beach was tinged with somberness, a reminder of the fragility of life and the reality that tragedy could strike at any moment. The town came together to support the Thompsons during their arduous journey, raising funds to assist with medical expenses and showing empathy. And November 14, 2015 was like any other day on Samuel's maritime route, steering his ship from Bateman's Bay to Montague Island and finally reaching the tranquil waters near Eden. With a decade of experience, Samuel was known among his crew for his ability to mend anything, whether the ship's engine or the rigging on deck. As dawn broke on November 15, 2015, Samuel embarked on his routine checks, inspecting the ship's engine meticulously before turning his attention to the pulley systems on deck. These tasks had become his second nature, and his fellow crewmates highly regarded his expertise. He deftly resolved an issue with the pulleys, winning a round of applause from his colleagues. The day unfolded with a sense of normalcy until around 1 p.m., when a commotion on deck drew Samuel. A chaotic whirl of pain followed the shock of impact as Samuel found himself submerged, tangled in the net, and struggling to breathe. Amidst his disorientation, he comprehended that the massive force straining the net was a great white shark relentlessly tugging at the entangled fish. His heart raced, his breath came in ragged gasps, and the icy grip of terror tightened around his chest. Summoning adrenaline, Samuel retrieved a small pocket knife, his trembling hands fumbling to cut the rope that bound him. But the thick rope resisted his attempts, leaving him helpless as he desperately struggled to escape its grasp. Panic intensified as he sensed the shark's ominous presence lurking nearby, its eerie shadow circling just beyond his vision. Amidst the chaos and adrenaline, Samuel focused solely on his fight for survival, the world around him a blur of instinct and desperation. Unbeknownst to him, the fish trapped in the net managed to break free, a fleeting stroke of luck that also granted him a slim chance to break free. The universe seemed to hold its breath as Samuel propelled himself towards the shimmering surface, his body driven by sheer willpower. Emerging from the depths, he broke through the water's surface with a gasp that echoed the intensity of his struggle. His shout of relief and desperation pierced the air, a vocal manifestation of the emotions swirling within him. As he bobbed in the water, his body battered and his strength waning, the crew members sprung into action, responding to the urgency of his situation. A lifeline was swiftly extended, a slender thread connecting Samuel to safety. The crew's determination was palpable as they worked in unison, their combined efforts a testament to human resilience in the face of nature's fury. As the crew pulled him upward, the agonizing seconds stretched on, each one a battleground of survival. And it was only when Samuel's foot finally slipped from the predator's jaws that a collective exhale of relief echoed across the deck. But victory came at a harrowing cost. Samuel's severed limb bore witness to the price of his valiant struggle against the jaws of the great white. The severed leg was a stark reminder of the razor-thin line between life and death in the unforgiving waters. The crew rallied around him. Their swift actions were a testament to their bond and determination to mitigate the damage inflicted by the ruthless predator. Amid the urgency and chaos, the ship's course was swiftly redirected toward the nearest port where medical care awaited. The crew's concern for Samuel's well-being was evident in their actions, and their hearts were united in their shared resolve to ensure his survival. With the shocking turn of events that unfolded within the confines of the lodge was a massive tank that housed a variety of shark species, including nurse sharks, leopard sharks, and the elusive wobbegong shark. Luke's rapt attention accompanied Dr. Harris's explanations. Its sleek silhouette moved effortlessly through the water, a deadly predator with a keen sense of smell and a hunger that knew no bounds. The shark's eyes fixed on Mia's form as she continued to swim, oblivious to the impending danger. Suddenly, with a surge of speed and power, the bull shark zeroed in on Mia. Its jaws opened wide, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth glistening in the sunlight. Before Mia could react, the shark's immense force propelled it towards her, its hunger fueled by instinct and opportunity. In an instant, the tranquil scene turned into chaos. Mia's laughter transformed into a blood-curdling scream as the shark's jaws clamped onto her leg with a bone-crushing grip. Agony shot through her body as she fought to stay afloat, her desperate struggles sending ripples of panic through the water. Ryan and Emma's eyes widened with horror, reacted swiftly. Adrenaline coursed through their veins as they moved towards Mia. Their cries for help became a haunting echo. With combined effort, they managed to pull Mia towards the shallow waters. Their strength became their shield against the relentless predator. Blood mingled with the salt water, staining the once pristine waves with a gruesome reality. The shark's attack had left Mia with deep lacerations, her leg mangled and her strength waning. Her friends' faces were etched with fear and determination as they assessed Mia's injuries, their thoughts racing as they grappled with the gravity of the situation. But the shark was far from finished. Frustrated by its failed attempt, it circled back, its powerful form weaving through the water with chilling precision. The trio's struggle continued as they fought to keep Mia safe, their strength pitted against the brute force of nature. Ryan, his heart pounding in his chest, remembered a piece of advice he had once heard. Desperation guided his actions as he grabbed a snorkeling spear, its sharp tip glinting in the sunlight. With unyielding resolve, he thrust the spear towards the shark's flank, striking it with all his might. The impact caused the shark to falter, its jaws releasing their grip on Mia's leg. As the wounded predator retreated, the sea around them turned crimson, a stark reminder of the danger that had befallen them. Mia's breaths were labored, her body weak from the ordeal. With the threat temporarily abated, the students' gasps of shock filled the air as they turned to witness a horrific scene unfold before them. Luke Thompson had inexplicably fallen into the shark enclosure. The water erupted in a chaotic frenzy as the wobbegong shark, a master of camouflage, darted toward Luke launching a swift and deadly attack. The peaceful waters transformed into a vortex of violence in seconds as the shark's powerful reminder of the unpredictable nature of the sea and the fragile boundary between admiration and danger. The Port Harbor Marine Discovery Center faced scrutiny and investigation in the aftermath, with safety protocols and enclosure designs under intense scrutiny. The tragedy memory lingered on in the hearts of his classmates, deeply affected by the traumatic events of that day. The memory of the attack cast a shadow over their enthusiasm for marine life, a stark reminder of the potential risks accompanying the ocean's awe-inspiring beauty. Despite the chilling encounter, Luke's spirit and passion remained alive in the minds of those who knew him. Ultimately, the tragic shark attack remained a poignant chapter in Port Harbor's history. The Marine Center's transformation into a beacon of education and safety, was a testament to the town's resilience and the enduring legacy of Luke's spirit. As the ocean's mysteries continued to captivate and intrigue, the memory of that harrowing day served as a reminder that the sea's beauty and power must always be approached with a profound sense of respect and responsibility. In the tranquil seaside community of Saren Harbor, perched along the edge of the enormous Pacific Ocean, when the planet still had pockets of unknown wonder. Within this dappled shadows upon the water's surface, Chris's triumphant haul of fish was met with a chilling discovery. A disemboweled fish, a victim of relentless predation. An invisible shiver of unease coursed through him, a primal instinct alerting him to an unseen presence lurking beneath the waves. Despite his growing disquiet, Chris soldiered on, determined to heed the siren call of the sea. Anchoring at a favored location known for its abundant marine life, he cast his lines with the optimism that had always buoyed him. Time passed languidly, accompanied by the ebb and flow of the tides, as the tranquil waters held secrets known only to those who dared to venture. The idyllic tableau shifted abruptly as Chris's fishing lines tautened, the telltale sign of a significant catch. Adrenaline surged through his veins as he began to reel in his prize, the anticipation lending a fevered intensity to his efforts. Yet, amid this battle, an eerie sensation prickled at the edges of his awareness, a visceral premonition of impending danger. A crescendo of tension gripped Chris as his prize neared the surface, an awe-inspiring mahi-mahi of considerable size. Triumph and unease commingled as the fish emerged, its body marred by a vicious assault. The stark evidence of predation echoed ominously, its implications impossible to ignore. Reality lurched, and time seemed to slow as a shadowy form materialized beneath the wounded fish, a manifestation of terror in its purest form. In an electrifying burst of motion, the ocean's behemoth surged, their gaze riveted on the endless azure ocean that stretched before them. The map, a ragged parchment from a bygone era, spread between them, tracing a trail to a dark sea surface believed to contain dangerous sea creatures. This quest sparked their adventure, which would later lead them to an encounter with a massive hammerhead shark. The boat they were in, a dilapidated fishing boat, swung gently in the rhythmic embrace of waves. The sun stretched its golden arms over the bay as they set sail, engulfing it in a warm embrace. A fragrant reminder of their symbiotic link with the sea lingered in the air, the tang of salt. The creaking of the boat, irrepressible human will to impact the world. The boat sailed on as the sun set, coloring the sky with amber and rose hues, toward a destination that would rewrite their stories. Stars appeared like ancient celestial sentinels as night unfurled its obsidian canvas. Their glistening reflections danced across the ocean's surface, creating a cosmic dance that mimed the diver's impending journey. Emily traced her fingers through the water, leaving glowing trails, and the divers felt as if they were decoding the whispers of long-dead mariners as they negotiated the tortuous passages, a mournful symphony of ancient times. A figure suddenly emerged from the shadows in the middle of this underwater dark space, the sound of a hammerhead shark. Its body radiated primitive majesty, its obsidian eyes fixed on the divers with a potent blend of curiosity and dominance. The trio's hearts beat faster, a mixture of awe and dread. A ballet between predator and prey proceeded, resulting in a symphony of motions. The hammerhead swam through the water with streamlined ease, a manifestation of ages of evolution. However, its movements were not purely instinctual. As it neared, the divers felt a paradox, a link with a primordial force and an unfathomable sentience that eluded their comprehension. Then the hammerhead started charging forward, its maw gaping, an incarnation of primordial ferocity. Chaos erupted as the divers struggled with a foe as old as time, motivated by terror and survival instinct. Flashlights illuminated the raging sea, generating fleeting shadows that seemed to build their own story within the aquatic battleground. Amid the chaos, Alex noticed a window of opportunity. He measuredly moved, but with reluctant respect for its rival's persistence. It vanished into the ocean's depths with a final undulating glide, leaving the divers to grapple with the intoxicating stew of victory and amazement. The moon bathed the bay in silver brilliance as the trio resurfaced, an otherworldly greeting to their return. A crowd of townspeople gathered on the beach, their faces illuminated by lantern light, a congregation united by shared excitement and unsaid solidarity. The ship glided back to port, symbolizing their return to solid ground. Among the joyous cheers and embraces, the divers exchanged a wordless glance, a testament to the profundity of their voyage. They had journeyed. A touch of enchantment was added to the picture, by the appearance of sea turtles and the elusive manta rays. On the other hand, the deeper they plunged into the ocean, the more the water took on an eerie quiet. Around 100 feet below the water's surface, they found themselves amid an underwater graveyard of corals. The corals lay there like antiques that most people had forgotten, caught in time's grip. The shutter on Nicole's camera continued to click, capturing the eerie beauty of the setting. They were oblivious to the presence of the menacing apparition that waited for them in the shadows, an enormous hammerhead shark. As they went further, the group of four fell into an eerie silence. The vibrant marine life in their immediate vicinity had vanished, leaving an unsettling void behind. Kevin pointed out a slight expansion, and his gut instinct told him that disruption was coming soon. But before they could answer, a colossal hammerhead surfaced from the depths, its svelte form moving effortlessly through the water. It appeared time had stopped moving as the enormous beast got closer. It seemed inevitable that John, Nicole, and Kevin would only need to work together. Therefore, the three of them immediately formed a defensive formation with their flippers. When they finally saw the mammoth, their hearts started racing and adrenaline began to surge. Tensing their muscles, they maintained their posture beneath the waves. It was a picture of resoluteness, juxtaposed with precariousness. The shark continued to approach them, clearly displaying its inquisitive nature as it continuously circled the area. The coordinated movements of the divers appeared to attract the creature's curiosity, and it seemed to be watching closely. As they stood in their position, it was a complicated dance between the hunter and the hunted, and the minutes seemed to drag on forever. After that, the hammerhead returned to where it had come from, disappearing back into the abyss just as quickly as it had emerged. When the divers finally surfaced and could breathe fresh air, they were astonished at the intensity of the encounter. They had come face to face with a dangerous creature from the depths, a testament to their courage and respect for the splendors of the ocean. Following their return to AquaQuest, the sun went below the horizon, resulting in a tranquil and dramatic landscape reflecting the events that had just transpired. The sun descended below the horizon on that once-in-a-lifetime voyage. The abyss, which had been indelibly branded by the creatures who had made it their home, was left in the rearview mirror. The divers eventually lost contact with one another over the years, but their shared experience ensured they would always be connected. John Andrews, now widely recognized as an expert in marine biology, devoted his entire life to understanding the intricate ecosystems in the ocean. He traveled to some of the most inaccessible regions on Earth to meet with researchers and locals to discuss potential long-term remedies to the delicate ecological balance. Their experiences under the sea were a jubilant dance of reminiscences they'd shared and discoveries. Together with marine biologists and environmental activists, they looked into issues affecting the ocean, such as overfishing, climate change, the destruction of habitat, and pollution. As they continued to investigate the underwater world, the three friends drew closer to one another. They reminisced about the momentous day that had transpired in the waters off the coast of Santa Catalina Island, the meeting that had set each of them off on their paths of ocean activism. Their bond was as unchanging as the tides, and each represented a glimmer of optimism in a world where the oceans were up against tremendous obstacles. The viewers met the documentary with critically acclaimed upon its release, willing to explore. Lisa's heart raced as she treaded water near the shore, the sun's warmth casting gentle ripples across the surface. Her exhilarating underwater journey had left her feeling alive in a way only nature could evoke. In an instant, the air around Lisa seemed to shudder as a shadow emerged from the depths. Before she could react, a tremendous force struck her, sending shockwaves through her body. The world around her blurred as pain jolted through her limbs, and the water's embrace transformed into an arena of chaos. The shark's attack was swift and decisive, its jaws closing around Lisa with a vice-like grip. Panic and instinct collided within her as she fought against the suffocating pressure. The ocean's beauty had given way to a desperate struggle for survival. Lisa's adrenaline-fueled instincts kicked in amid the thrashing waves and swirling currents. Summoning every ounce of strength, she struck out with fierce determination, her fists pounding against the shark's powerful body. The predator's grip faltered for a moment, allowing her to wrench herself free. Blood mingled with the salt water as Lisa propelled herself towards the surface, her breath ragged and her heart pounding. As Lisa clung to the surface, struggling to catch her breath, the journey was not over during that lull in the action. The water continued to hold both fantastic and dangerous species, and its depths were still waiting to be explored. And they would continue to explore, conserve, and inspire others, fueled by the unyielding enthusiasm that drove them. It was an unstoppable force for the wild beauty that the hurried pace of contemporary life had not yet impacted, and with open arms revealing a brilliant aquatic tapestry beyond human imagination. Their exploration brought them to a hidden underwater cave system, whose limestone structures were mute witnesses to the natural artistry crafted over many years. Zach's camera captured the vivid kaleidoscope of colors that graced the cave's interior, while Samuel's trained eyes read the geological tale inscribed upon the rock. They proceeded farther into the maze, guided by Antony's prior knowledge, their senses tingling with the excitement of the prospect of discovery. As they proceeded with their exploration, they found more nooks and crannies that concealed relics from a distant era. As Samuel discovered fossilized shells and impressions of marine creatures engraved into the walls, his joy could be felt through the cave. These artifacts provided an insight into the inhabitants of the old ocean. These fleeting moments have been captured forever by Zach's camera, which, like a painter's brush, created a visual homage to the ocean's enduring allure. Antony's continuous presence provided security, which served as a steady hand to guide them through the complex maze of passageways. As they proceeded further into the cavern, the passing of the hours became a captivating dance with time. During their investigation, Antony's observant sight landed on another cave concealed within. The cave had small fish species that wandered around. A faint murmur echoed through the water, and it was almost as if the ocean itself was telling ancient stories and imparting its knowledge. The sea creatures appeared to be pausing for a while before moving about. Samuel's analytical mind and Zach's creative spirit clashed in astonishment at the small, beautiful cave. Both were in awe of its beauty. Antony, a wise man of the sea, was the first to realize that the cave was significant in a way that went beyond the duties each played individually. The entrance of a magnificent hammerhead shark disrupted their contemplation at that precise moment, and all the small fish species suddenly fled away. The creature's existence was a demonstration of the raw strength and elegance that the ocean possesses. The creature's sleek body glided effortlessly through the water. The divers were amid a living representation of the sea's beauty when the shark entered, which instilled a sense of astonishment, rather than apprehension. The three people started their rise slowly, while showing mutual respect for one another. Their actions were in time with the beat of the waves. The eyes of the shark followed them, a quiet acceptance of the fact that they were traveling together. After breaking through the water surface, they emerged above, where the pleasant warmth of the sun.
The coastline was a picturesque panorama of rocky cliffs and sandy beaches. The tranquil town was small, but it was clear that this place held great power, with a possibility of danger lurking just below the water's surface. Randall's excitement grew as he boarded the boat and set out towards the diving location. The cage was ready and waiting for him, and he couldn't wait to be lowered into the water. As the cage sank into the depths of the ocean, Randall's anticipation turned to fear. The water was murky, and he couldn't see far beyond the steel cage. The silence was deafening, and the only sound was the rhythmic breathing of the diving crew. Suddenly, a group of great white sharks began to circle the cage, their teeth glistening in the murky water as they attacked the steel pegs. Randall could feel his heart pounding in his chest as he watched them, wondering if the cage could withstand their attack. But as the sharks continued to circle, the cage remained sturdy, and Randall felt confident that nothing bad could happen. As the minutes ticked by, the tension grew palpable as the sharks kept circling the cage, their razor-sharp teeth bared in a menacing display. Randall and the crew felt a sense of relief when the sharks eventually stopped attacking the cage, only for their relief to quickly turn to confusion as they suddenly disappeared without a trace. In the murky waters, a thick layer of foam and bubbles made it difficult to see anything. But in the depths, Randall caught a glimpse of something that made his heart race with fear. A massive figure was moving towards the cage with deadly precision. It was coming fast, and there was nowhere to hide. As it approached, the figure became clearer, revealing itself to be a colossal great white shark. Its massive body dwarfed all other sharks they had seen before. Its scarred sides bore the evidence of countless battles, and its cold, dead eyes were fixed on the steel cage with an unerring focus. The crew and Randall watched in terror as the shark kept circling the cage, getting closer and closer with each pass. The atmosphere was thick with fear as they waited for what would happen next. The suspenseful silence was shattered when the shark disappeared suddenly into the depths of the ocean, leaving them all gasping for air. With the sudden appearance of the colossal great white shark, the crew of the diving expedition was thrown into a frenzy of fear and panic. They knew that they had to act quickly to save Randall's life. Without hesitation, they pulled on the rope that would lift the steel cage back to the surface. As they hauled it up, Randall could feel his heart.
As the years went by, Eldenport continued to serve as a haven for people fascinated by the water's beauties. The story of the divers was woven into the fabric of the community, serving as a constant reminder that the ocean should not be fought against, but instead embraced. As the villagers stared toward the horizon, they saw the boundless expanse of water and a reflection of their connectivity. This relationship had existed for generations. They mirrored the unchanging rhythm, residents' awareness that the sea housed wonders, sources of amazement, and ideas they would never discover. As the sun descended below the horizon, it mirrored the village's enduring link with the ocean's depths in the golden colors cast by the setting light. The waves seemed to murmur stories of adventures that had been taken. 3rd, 1997, the sun rose over Mossel Bay, casting a warm glow across the peaceful waters. 31-year-old Andrew Lee. Scuba diving with the white sharks had become a seasonal ritual for him. With the onset of the southern winter, these majestic creatures would grace the waters of Mossel Bay, drawing enthusiasts and thrill-seekers from all over. The island, known as Seal Island, was a mere 10-minute boat ride from the port. It had earned its name due to the abundant population of seals that called it home. But what truly drew people like Andrew was the majestic presence of the great white sharks that patrolled the waters around the island during this time of the year. Andrew had opted for the most exclusive shark viewing excursion. He had invested in a premium worlds. Andrew observed the cage with excitement and fear, knowing that within its confines he would come face to face with creatures that had inspired fear and fascination for generations. Reunion came alive with the rhythmic sound of crashing waves and the laughter of beachgoers. 13-year-old Damien Castole stood on the shoreline, his eyes fixed on the horizon. His cold black eyes seemed to bore into the very core of the situation, assessing its potential meal. With desperate strength, Damien fought back. His limbs thrashed against the water, a battle of survival unfolding beneath the surface. Adrenaline surged through his veins, his heart pounding in his chest. He kicked, punched, and did everything to release Damien. His body broke the surface of the water, gasping for air. Bernard's screams for help echoed across the waves, and it wasn't long before a boat appeared on the horizon, circling shark. With coordinated urgency, the lifeguards paddled out, forming a protective barrier between Lisa and the predator. They shouted and splashed the water, their efforts aimed at deterring the shark from its pursuit. The sound and movement caught the shark's attention, causing it to hesitate and veer away, disappearing into the depths. After the lifeguards had successfully deterred the shark and guided Lisa back to the safety of in the heart of South Australia, a tale of courage and survival unfolded on the sun-soaked shores. It was August 5th, 1989, a date etched into history as a local fisherman, Chris Jack, set out on a seemingly routine fishing expedition that would soon spiral into a life-and-death struggle against the ocean's apex predator. Adelaide, characterized by its stunning coastline and vibrant culture, served as the backdrop for Chris's maritime endeavors. With its golden beaches stretching along the azure waters of the Great Australian Bight, the city was a haven for fishing enthusiasts, drawn by the promise of bountiful catches and breathtaking scenery. Chris had spent years navigating these waters, forging an intimate connection with the sea that sustained him. On that fateful morning, a gentle breeze carried the salty tang of the ocean as Chris rose with the sun, fueled by a sense of anticipation that only a day at sea could himself surrounded by the incredible marine life of the area. Schools of fish darted by, their silvery scales catching the sunlight. As Andrew and his group descended to a depth of 40 feet, they marveled at the beauty of the marine. The chum had not yet been thrown into the water, as that was the crescendo of the whole excursion. The protocol in place ensured the safety of the divers within the cage, before the scent of the bait attracted the sharks. The guide was scouting the surroundings when his trained eyes spotted it, a shark, larger than life, cutting through the water with unwavering determination. He couldn't believe his eyes as the chum had not yet been thrown into the water, and better still, the boat above was monitoring all the sharks with a tracker. Then, it dawned on him that the shark was new to these waters, drawn by the ebb and flow of the seasons. The guide's heart raced as he realized the danger they were in. The presence of this uncharted shark signaled unpredictability. Before he could react, the waters erupted in a violent burst of motion. The shark charged through the divers with a force that defied comprehension. The ferocity of the attack was unprecedented. The shark decimated the guide with terrifying swiftness, latching to his neck with its massive jaws. Andrew's world shattered as he watched in horror, his senses overwhelmed by the brutality unfolding before him. Andrew and the other participants were still trying to regain their composure when the shark returned and started circling them. As they stood back to back, treading the water, the shark plunged toward them, carrying his partner in the adventure. Andrew could see that the shark had the man's head completely in his mouth and was swinging his head furiously back and forth. Panic surged through Andrew as he fought to process the unimaginable. The waters around him turned crimson, the blood mingling with the currents of fear. He bid farewell to his family and set out from Glenelg, a coastal suburb known for its picturesque beaches and vibrant atmosphere. The city's skyline, a juxtaposition of modern architecture and historic charm, gradually faded from view as Chris ventured further into the boundless expanse. Chris's boat, a steadfast vessel christened Serenity, was his sanctuary and companion on countless maritime odysseys. The rhythmic lapping of waves against its hull provided a soothing cadence as he charted a course toward a favored fishing ground. The sun's gentle rays danced upon the water's surface, casting shimmering reflections that seemed to beckon him onward. As hours melted into one another, Chris cast his lines with a practiced grace, the promise of reeling in prized catches fueling his determination. The ocean responded to his unwavering resolve, yielding a bounteous harvest of fish that glinted with iridescent hues in the morning light. The rhythm of his labor was accompanied by the symphony of seagulls overhead, a harmonious dialogue between man and nature. However, the tranquil tableau would soon be shattered by an ominous undercurrent of unease. A series of unsettling events unfurled as the morning sun climbed higher. Around them seemed to darken, an eerie stillness replacing the cheerful banter. The mood shifted from excitement to unease, a shared sense that something formidable was approaching. "Guys, I don't like this. There's something down there." Liam's voice trembled as he spoke. The others shared his apprehension, tension filling the air. Ethan quickly retracted the drone, its view revealing the chilling outline of a...